welcome, welcome, welcome. So, hey, everybody. Hey, welcome to Wake Up Happy Sis, the radio show where we actually talk about all things wellness. We're going to talk about personal development. We're talking about how you can change your life and wake up happy, sis. So, I'm your host, Leanne Dulce. We are on KCCR, the Brownstone, where we are changing the narrative for our Black and Brown people by telling our stories our way. And today I have some fabulous guests with me today, and we're going to be talking about stress and burnout. Okay. Because I don't know about anybody else, but been there, done that, have written a couple of books on it, maybe, or something, because it's something that happens to all of us, right? Oh, we got another person popping in. So before we get started, I'm going to do a quick intro and then I'm going to let my wonderful guests introduce themselves to you. And then we're going to jump right into the show. Um, so, if you're like most people, then stress, burnout, those are things that we deal with on a regular basis, whether it's from our jobs. Sometimes it's our home life, it's our outside commitments, and sometimes it's just everything all together, right? But today, what we're going to give you are some practical strategies, some tips, things that you can implement hopefully today that may help you relieve a little bit of that stress and help you on your way to preventing burnout. Because what we don't want is that. So, I have three wonderful guests, and of course, our fearless leader over here, Paulette, who don't look at me like that, you already know, and who, by the way, is the owner of KCCR, the Brownstone. So she has popped in to grace us with her presence. So we're going to go from right to left or in a circle. So, Gail, would you like to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do? You're on mute. You have to unmute yourself, Gail.
Okay, let's start again. Thank you for having me on. I'm so excited to be here. Burnout. My name is Gale Blount, and I'm a burnout coach and mentor for women. I actually have experienced burnout twice, which led me to coaching in 2021. I left the corporate game. I was tired of fitting into organizations' boxes and took a year off, gap year, took that in Phoenix, and just took some time to figure out what was next for me in life. That led me to this path. And now I'm based out of Maryland, where I coach women on burnout, especially leaders who are people pleasers and who are perfectionists.
Awesome. Well, welcome.
Thank you.
Jenny Lee, would you like to introduce yourself?
Oh, yes, absolutely. So, in addition of me being an English teacher here in Connecticut, I'm also a habits coach, I call myself. So, I teach mostly really women, moms, avoiding burnout by first thing in the morning, emotionally and spiritually nourish themselves
Yeah.
through morning habits that are happy and joyful. And so that they're all charged emotionally, and they could go through the day happy when the kids wake up. And yep, I've been there too, being a mother. Well, why the morning? Because you know what? Something that I found, because the narrative that a lot of women have, especially mothers, right? It's like self care could seem selfish. Like I was there, I would take a nap and I would feel guilty for taking naps, because like I'm not being a good mom because I'm not awake all the time. Um, and so the mornings are, when people are asleep, when the world is asleep, I could take care of myself without judgment, without self judgment, or feeling that I'm being judged by people around me. The purpose is also to train ourselves to be accustomed to happiness and joy. So if you want to decide the kind of day that you want to have, or the kind of person that you want to be, decide that first thing in the morning consistently. So that's
Yeah.
me. Thank you.
Thank you. Welcome. And Brigitte.
Brigitte. Hey, everybody. I'm Brigitte Brown Jackson. I am a behavioral wealth strategist and the founder of Exponential Edge Adventures. Female executives, through my training and development, are able to grow profits, build highly effective teams, and to get their mission and a vision accomplished by, again, the training and development. Self-care is something that's very, very important and near and dear to my heart. As I heard Gale say, I've had those moments where burnt out almost took me out. And so I love working with females, especially to help them because we sometimes have to wear so many hats. So again, I'm Brigitte Brown Jackson. I am a behavioral wealth strategist.
Welcome, Brigitte and Paulette, fearless leader over here.
So first of all, hey y'all, how you doing? So happy to have everybody here. I'm Paulette, and I am the founder and owner of Brownstone Worldwide, brownstoneworldwide.com, Brownstone Living Magazine, and also KCCR The Brownstone, where we are changing the narrative of how we tell our stories our way. So happy to be here. I saw the link, Leanne sent it to me, and I thought, oh, I'll pop in. So I'm just here to support and also listen in because I get burnt out too. Oh gosh, yes, I do.
Amen. And for those who this may be your first time viewing, I'm Leanne Dulce. I'm a self-care success strategist. And self-care and wellness is my new passion. I've definitely been under the stress and the burnout flag. I'm an IT gal. I'm a techie. I'm a nerd. And that environment to me over the last 20 years or so has been super stressful. I've went through burnout a few times during my career and just tried to come up with what are ways that I can help myself get past that burnout, and also how to manage stress. Because what I didn't want to be was who I found myself becoming, somebody who was snapping at people all the time. I had very little patience with at work, with my family, my relationships, and just having those days sometimes where I could barely get out the bed. Right, my house is looking a mess because at this point I'm burnt out. I'm emotionally fatigued. I'm depressed. I have all these things going on, and it's hard to even get out the bed some days. But I had to realize that there are things that I can do that I can help get through that, right? A lot of times we try and say, oh, people are so used to suppressing their feelings, especially as a mother. If you have a job, also, if you have a husband or a spouse, also, right? We sometimes tend to lose ourselves in that space of who am I? Am I Leanne? Am I the mother? Am I the wife? Am I the person at the church, right? Am I the executive or the leader or the worker, right? All these things bundle up and we sometimes lose ourselves. And then sometimes we buckle and we crumble when the stress and the pain and everything comes down on us because we have what I say is the world on our shoulders oftentimes, as women, particularly as Black women, women of color, we have another layer that sometimes other people don't have of the expectation that we're strong, that we can handle all things, and that it doesn't bother us. We're not supposed to be upset. We're supposed to be happy and jovial and all the time when we're dealing with stress, when we're dealing with everything, all the weight of the world on us. So that's what we're going to talk about today. We keep it real and raw here. So, don't feel like you have to hold back if you have something to say. If your opinion differs, it's okay, as long as we keep it respectful. And that's what we're about. But I'm about the conversation because I really want to know, how can we help women get past this, right? How can we help, and not just women, basically the tips we have are going to be for everybody, but how can we help us get past the stress, manage it, cope with it, deal with it, resolve it in a healthy way? And what are the things that we can do to help women from suffering burnout? How do we stop it before they get to that point? So what do you guys think first are some of the common stressors? I just want to talk about common stressors that you guys have experienced in your careers? And we just jump in here. I'm not going to
Okay.
call individual people.
I know for me, I'm going to jump in. I know for me, woman of color, I have ADHD, and trying to fit, like I said, into organizations, their boxes, and often showing up being the only woman of color in a room, added stress. The more that I needed to be in these places, the less authentic I felt I needed to be, because I didn't want people to know that I had ADHD. I already had to overcompensate for being in that room, and it just led more and more and more to my stress. It led more to me burning out. And I used to joke with a friend of mine, I go in as, I think she called me angry black female. We use the acronym for it, because not having that smile on your face, not showing up overly joyed in those rooms, just led more and more to stress. That the first time that I experienced stress and needed to take time off from work, I went in to see my doctor. She looked at me and she said, "I know exactly where you are." I was there, high blood pressure, not sleeping, losing weight, just tired, working 12, 13-hour days, adding a commute, no time for other people. So when I work with clients, the first thing is, how authentic are you at work? Do you have to code switch? What are those things that's holding you back from being healthy? Because we think about, we give so much more to that company than we give to ourselves.
Definitely. I'm definitely in agreement on that. I know, especially being in the IT code development kind of space, that's traditionally a white male kind of area, especially the level that I was. And coming in, being passed over for promotions because I didn't fit the aesthetic, um, having to, I think the first time I heard a person cuss in a meeting,
Oh,
and now these are architects, these are, they're like sitting right underneath what you would consider the executive management level, right? In the engineering department, these are architects, so they essentially can do what they want. And I was like, what is this? I can't do that, right? But that added stress of me having to be me, be better than everybody else, to even be counted as equal. Um, and having to feel like I had to change who I was to fit into the world. I mean, I had locks down to my butt. I was very much my own person. But coming in and seeing somebody with blue hair, I thought, oh, okay, this is an environment where I can be accepted, I'll be celebrated, I'll be okay. It was not. It was not. So I definitely get it. That work environment and the feeling of we can't be ourselves and we can't be authentic. And when we're sad, we can't be sad. I didn't come here to be friends with everybody. I came here to work, to do my job, to do it well, and to help move this company forward.
yeah.
So,
And to do it in your skin, Leanne. I love that you started off this conversation, Gail, because prior to me starting Exponential Edge Adventures, I spent almost 30 years in education. And so as a school administrator, my stressor was and still is it in certain areas, is people trying to put me in a box. And so authenticity, and I'm glad we're talking about this today, because I have a live today. Actually, I have a webinar that I'm getting ready to do that literally, and that's the topic of it. That's what we're talking about, is being authentic. So I'm a certified DISC instructor, and so anytime I'm sharing with people, I'm always going to go back to that, being in your personality, having your own behavior preference. And so I'm a I, which is inspirational. And my issue was my bosses and the CEOs of the companies that I work for. I was at 4 different institutions during my career. They wanted me to be more assertive and more aggressive, and I'm more inspiring. And so I was always going to put the people first. And I worked for a charter school organization. So it's a profitability factor there. It is with public school too. So I'm not even gonna get into that debate because people try to make us a difference. It's not public school. You're getting money too.
Mhm.
But the for-profit thing, they really can't stand without money because they didn't get as much money revenue coming in as a traditional public school. So money was a big thing, but people was the biggest thing for me. And so sometimes that clash where that created stress for me. And I had one actual boss that did tell me I was not assertive enough. Now, I don't play games. I didn't avoid conflict. But again, I'm a loving, caring, how you're doing, I'm going to find out about their family and all of that. And so that would be for me, making sure that you stand. And I'm glad, Gail started this off. Be authentic in the skin that you're in. And I had one job, I quit 3 days before school started because they did not, and I left a nice bonus on the table, but they did not value me for who I was. And so that was stressing me. I was having issues. And the first one came up even when I was a single parent. I had 4 children. I'm like, okay, I couldn't do this. Then I got married, and then now I went to another school, and then we're having some of these same things. And I'm like, I have to be uniquely who I am, and I'm going to be authentic in my skin. So that would be the thing that I would say to people, and I would tell people, don't let other people put you in a box. Who you are, who you prefer to be, your behavior preference is yours. Own it, walk in it, know your genius, and don't allow anybody to define you.
True. So now let's talk a little bit about, we've got this stress, we're on the job, we're having a code switch, we're not able to be authentically ourselves. How do we address that? Right? So I'm new coming into this corporation, this environment. How do I address that in a way that allows me to be authentic to myself, that allows me to not be put in that box, right? And to address it when somebody says, Bridget, you need to be more assertive, right? Because it's hard to come in when your superiors are telling you that you have to be this, or this, or you see it in that environment. And, you kind of you feel like you don't fit in. Everybody can't just quit sometimes, right? So how do we come into that space, and how do we kind of manage those stressors?
I could jump in on that. I completely understand. Thank you for sharing that, Bridget, because I'm also in the public school setting. That's where I'm working. And so I completely understand the stressor with students coming from, actually, at least this is what I have to deal with, right? Behavior problems, and then deadlines, and sometimes it's really easy to take personally when you're, like in the whole context, like, with a misbehavior, but then you also sympathize with the students who come from rough neighborhood and all kinds of social problems. There was a time when, I was also a new mother, and then I have to, of course, wear all these different hats, right? A teacher, and then kind of a parent for the students, and then come home and I'm the cook and the cleaner and the housekeeper and a teacher again, right? Well, somebody's going to teach my kid. And so the burnout, definitely was real. And that really kept me from being myself because I was always in the survival mode. And that kind of cost, of course, my personal life. My relationships with everyone just crumbled, including with my husband and my ex-husband now. And so we got a divorce. So I moved out. And we have we have split custody now. And that's when I realized that, oh, wow, I really have not been attending to myself. And at that time, being with myself because of, now I have a couple of days for myself. I didn't even know what to do with because I was so
Yeah.
used to taking care of everyone. It's like, okay, what do I do now with this 2 days off? Right. Um, but something that I also realized is I have not been listening to myself. I have not been listening to my needs. And I'm sure in many cultures, women are conditioned and pressured, right, to be all these things and still look pretty and still look happy. Yeah, and that's the trap that I fell into finally. And so one morning, okay, so this was after years and years of being in survival mode, and that mode, the tension, the stressful kind of environment, like, that I got used to, that became my comfort zone. And so the mornings, of course, when you have to wake up in the morning to take care of everybody else or to a job that will be stressful, it's hard to wake up to that. But there was this one morning, of course, I was dragging myself, but I woke up a little too early anyway. What really is going to make me what really is going to make this feeling a little better? And so I turned on music. I had the idea of turn on the music, but I resisted.
Yes.
I resisted, like, because I got so used to, heavy and mopey mornings, right? And that became comfortable. But I turned that on anyway. And then, okay, music is nice. It will be nice to dance. The idea of dancing kind of came, but then I resisted because it was all so new. And so finally, I just danced and, this feels really good. And so that's when I start to find my authenticity, in the
Yes.
move, in the music. And that moment, that gave me joy. That gave me some, I don't know, like vibe, like
Relief.
happy vibes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like a
And
relief.
so that then that became a habit, right? And that became a habit of just me being myself first thing in the morning when everybody is still asleep, when I allow myself to be authentic. And then because of that, actually, that habit of focusing on my joy and on my happiness first thing in the morning, that spreads out, like, throughout my day.
Yes.
And by asking myself, okay, does this feel good? Does this bring me joy? Or how can I make this fun? And actually, that's helping with lesson planning, kind of figuring out, because now, after that became a habit, um, the habit is really questioning myself. How can I make this more fun? And that translated in my lesson planning. So in order for me to, because before it was all just a hamster wheel, right? Submit the lesson plans and do my work, tell the kids to do their work, and then go home, take my paycheck. And there is no joy there. And so with me starting to focus on what gives me joy in the morning and ask myself, how can I make this fun? That puts on this lens, a different lens of viewing my work, of viewing life in general. And that brings me even closer to my authenticity. And so now, because with that lens on, my interaction with my students actually changed. It's like, not that I hate my job anymore. Like, it's not. I'm still in the same environment, public school in Connecticut. It used to be.
Your view of
Yes.
everything, your lens of everything around
Yeah,
you changes.
exactly.
I want to jump back to one thing that you said, Chinny,
Mhm.
is being in survival mode,
Yeah.
what that looks like for people, because sometimes we're in survival mode and we don't even realize, just like you said, when you wanted to do something different and fun, yet you resisted
Yeah.
because this level, I may not be happy, but I'm getting by and it's comfortable and I'm used to it and I don't want to. So a couple of things. Let's talk about survival mode, right? That being on the brink of exhaustion, right? Feeling like you have to be perfect. I can't make a mistake. I can't do this. I can't do that. Being overworked, right? And I get up, I go to work, I come home, I take care of the kids, I go to sleep, and I wake up and I do the same thing again. And when you're in survival mode, you're doing the things necessary for you to just get by. Let me just make it to the end of this day, to the end of this week. Oh my God, the weekend's here, but I still don't have time to myself because my kids got track, my kids got this, the husband's got this, I've got this. And we don't stop to say in this moment, what makes me happy? What gives me joy? Right? Put on top of that, most of us have a lack of boundaries, right? That, especially if you're a parent, right? My daughter is grown now, but coming in as a young mother in her 20s, in college, with 2 jobs, taking on the responsibility of caring for some of my cousins as well, I didn't have boundaries. It was like, okay, I want everybody to be happy. I want everybody to be, but I stopped caring for me first. I'm my star player. If your star player ain't taken care of, how is everybody else really being taken care of, right? And having that need for constant achievement, right? I'm just going to work. My motto was, I can sleep when I'm dead. And I almost killed myself doing that, right? I was morbidly obese. Now I'm still a big girl, but I'm sexy with it now. But I was morbidly obese. My doctor told me, if you don't change your life, you're going to die before your kid maybe before she even reaches adulthood, right? And we're constantly neglecting our own needs. But trying to move out of that phase of survival, what does that look like, right? What does that look like when we're trying to go from surviving to thriving?
I want to jump in here really quick. This is a good conversation. Thanks, Leanne, for this, because I'm listening to everybody. And to Bridget's point, Jenny, I like the idea of the dancing.
Yes.
I do that a lot. If you follow me on Facebook, I dance. So one of the things that, to answer your question, I cannot speak for everyone else, is I have a day where I stop the world and I get off.
Yes.
And this weekend, last week was, I've been doing these exercises where I'm taking time to do one thing, and that's be selfish. I take an hour out of the day, in the middle of working and doing all the things. And I literally journal, what I want my future to be. I don't talk about today. I talk about tomorrow. I talk about the next day. And I'm intentional in what I want to envision for that. Then this weekend, I gave myself some homework, something I hadn't done in a very long time. And the homework was just to feel good, just to be happy, just to experience joy, and to just have a good time. Yeah, stop the world day. Yes. Stop the world and get off, because you have to. Because guess what? It's going to be there when you come back. You just you jump in like you did when we were kids and we were trying to get in that double
jump
touch.
rope.
You know what I mean? You're going to get in there. You're going to jump in. But when you do, you're coming back with that fire and a bag of sunflower seeds, right? And so I think where a lot of us are is we don't give ourselves permission. And just like all of you all, we have families. I've got the business, and I turned off everything. Okay. I turned off the cell phones. I turned off the emails. I turned off everything, because everything is automated. And so I have systems in place. So that's important when you're in business. But if anything were to have gone wrong, I would have gotten an email anyway. And I have a little VA that works on the weekends to kind of, keep me in the loop if something were to go wrong. But everything was good. And I was able to really focus on me. And I went to an amazing ceremony yesterday, a balloon releasing ceremony to just, honor who I am. And I brought my daughter with me, and it was beautiful. And y'all, we had lunch and we had dinner, and I had cocktails. I don't drink. So we had cocktails, and it was amazing and it was wonderful. And I got up this morning and I jumped back in, and I had my morning huddle with my little team. And I feel like I don't have to do all of the things. I don't have to be mom today. I don't have to be grandma today. I don't have to be baby, where you at? You know what I mean? Like, I'm just Paulette today. And I think it's okay for us to experience that. So for me, I can't speak for everyone else. I would like to encourage everyone to have a stop the world and get off day, and just focus on you and your desires. And yeah, if you have small kids or whatever, if you're doing other things, I understand. Take just an hour, 30 minutes, 15, breathe, and just do you. I'm gonna be quiet. I'm gonna mute myself again. Okay.
Wait a minute, Paulette, you got me all stirred up. I'm sorry, Gale. If you want to go, you go first. Go
Well,
ahead.
I just want to say real quick that, when you said selfish, I went, that's being self-full. You're being
Yes.
self-full. We're taught as little girls, when you take care of yourself, that's being selfish, or such and such. You're not thinking of others. But when we don't think of ourselves first, how can we even be there for others? It's like putting your oxygen mask on first
Mhm.
before you put it on someone else. And we tend to forget that. And all I just want to say, Brigitte, is that saying no is the ultimate self-care.
Yes.
Thank you. We think that someone's not going to like us because we said no. And especially when we're in survival mode, for some reason, we tend to say yes even more, and even more quickly. And it's putting those healthy boundaries in place. And believe me, I know it's so hard, but just starting small with, I'm going to be self-full today, and saying no is going to help fill me up. So
Well, you ended, Gail, where I was getting ready to start was, and Leanne said it earlier. My suggestion to move from to into thriving is literally setting boundaries. And so yeah, everybody cannot quit their job. I was blessed. And Bill, I took a hit. I won't say that. I took a big hit. I went and drove for Uber. Look, so when the people were getting Uber, says, "So what made you drive Uber?" I said, "I quit my job as a principal." They looked at me, they said, "What?" I said, "Yes, I'm at the stage in my life." And at the time I was almost 50. I'm over 50 now. This was a while ago. And I was like, listen, I'm at almost the end of my career. I'm not letting people treat me any kind of way. You value me, or as the children say in the schools now, deuces. And so I was going to say setting boundaries. And so if you don't have to do like I did to leave, but you have to set boundaries. And so being authentic to yourself. And so I teach authentic leadership, being authentic, whether you are a leader for somebody, you are a leader for yourself. And as being an authentic leader, the first thing you have to do is understand your beliefs and your values and stand on them, and then set those boundaries around them. So the boundaries could be, again, your career. The boundary could be your business. The boundaries could be your family, whatever they are, and even yourself. And that's what I love what you just said, Paulette, about what was called Stop the World Day and Get Off. Is that I got the right end part? Get off too. Yeah. So stop the work. You set a boundary for yourself. And so sometimes we have to set boundaries for ourselves. And that's my big thing. Because again, my personality is so big. I love helping people. I'm a minister. I'm very charismatic. So I want to help everybody. I've been hurt and wounded. So when I see the hurt and wounded, I want to help out. And so I'm altruistic. And I'm like, listen, I gotta stop the world. I'm getting ready to steal your word, Paulette. I'm putting that on my board today. Stop the world and get off. So you do that by setting those boundaries. And so again, I know people, and I'm supposed to do it too, Paulette. So this was just an affirmation for me, a confirmation rather for me to get back to it. I have on my calendar to make sure that I do that multiple times quarterly. And I have not been doing it. I've been working because I've got to get this stuff done. And it's like, I'll be no good to anybody. I just had my 14th grandchild, and I can't be here for her if I don't take care of me. So I'm taking care. Yeah, y'all can say, I know I don't. Okay, okay, Leanne, back to you. But set those boundaries.
One of the things that I would say for me, going from survival mode is one, first you got to recognize that you are in survival mode, right? Most of us are used to putting on this happy face, but we don't even really know what our triggers are, right? What has gotten us into being in that survival mode? Sometimes it's trauma that's happened. Sometimes it's just the world. The world is just on us, right? And sometimes it's us putting all of that pressure on ourselves because we have such a high standard that we can never meet. We're trying to meet perfection. It's not attainable, right? But yet we still try, we still push, we still move, and we put all this excess on us. So to me, it's like, let me identify what's going on with me in this moment right now. One of the things I'm working on now is a certification to be a mindfulness coach, right? Because my path, and I think my gift, is helping people kind of live in the present. We have to be present now, right? And stopping to even having a, like Paula said, stop the world moment where I'm just going to stop, see how I'm feeling and what's going on with me right now. I'm not judging it. I don't feel bad because of whatever. I just want to know where I'm at. Because once you know where you are and you know what your triggers, okay, John from accounting, if you come over here one more time, we don't want to get to that point to where it gets to that one more time, because John from accounting is definitely coming back over, right? But look, okay, every time this happens, then this happens, then this happens. Trying to identify those triggers, and then doing what Jenny said is, look, I think I want to turn on some music, but just turn on the music, right? My favorite song of the morning that I try to listen to every morning is Jill Scott, Hate on Them Haters. And people laugh when I say that, but that's like my mantra. You can hate on me all you want, but I'm going to still be me. I'm still going to be who I am and love the way that I love, right? So let's identify those triggers. But then you have to prioritize yourself. We have to get past this feeling and thought that I cannot take care of me first, that everybody else has to come before us. And when you're looking back, you kind of have to figure out why you feel that way. What happened in your life that made you feel that every single person and thing is more important in your life than you are? Most of us is cultural. That's what we're taught. We are taught, especially once you become a mother. Oh, your life is over. Your life stops. And now you have to be mom and help raise and bring up these little humans. When you become a wife, oh, you stop being Leanne, you're now Mrs. Whoever, right? So how do we get to that root cause of why we feel like we can't put ourselves first and we have to feel guilty when we do it, right? One of the things we are trying, look, Gale already said we're gonna say no. I think every woman needs to go in the mirror and practice saying no, because we have to, for our own health, our own well-being, right? If we're not saying no and we're always saying yes, my best analogy is when you have that teacup, are you giving out of the cup? Or are you giving out of the overflow that's into the saucer underneath? You're never supposed to give out of the cup. What's in the cup is for you. The overflow is what you are giving to everybody else. You have to give out of your abundance. Once I learned that, it was like, mind blown because I was so used to giving from the cup. My mode of surviving was to smile and to just get through it and continue to do. But I was breaking down. I couldn't sleep well. I couldn't eat well. So when I moved from surviving to thriving was literally realizing that I had to stop giving from my cup. I had to stop emptying myself to pour into others. That for me was the best thing that I could have done because now, like yesterday, and I didn't do, and anybody who knows me, I took Saturday and I took Sunday off. Went to a wine festival, had fun day drinking with my friend. We're dancing, we're having a good time, and I didn't feel guilty about it, right? So once you can let go of that feeling of being locked into, I have to serve everybody else, and realize it's okay for you to do for yourself and to be happy just for you. Not so you can be a better mother, not so you can be a better educator, not so you can be a better wife, so that you can be a better Leanne, Bridget, Jenny, Gale, and Paulette, so that you can be a better you. Because once you do that and you are so full of love for yourself unconditionally, everybody else around you is going to benefit from it because you now have the option of giving just out of your overflow. So let me go on back because I know that Paulette got me started over here. Her and Gale got me started. Okay, let me go back to my schedule. So I want to know a little bit about what you guys each do, and I want each person. So we're going to go from Paulette around on my screen. Well, Paulette already told us about her Stop the World Day, but what are some other things that you do to prioritize your self-care, your wellness? Give me a rundown of what are the things that you do?
The first thing that I do is I recently, and I don't know if maybe once you hit a certain age, this kind of happens because I'm over 50 as well. And I think one of the things that I've learned how to do is to give myself grace. And it starts before I get out of the bed, honestly. I, again, at this age and I'm almost I might as well be an empty nester. I have a son who's 16, had him late in life. But everybody else is an adult and they're doing their thing. So I got time, y'all. I used to get up early in the morning with the babies. I don't have to anymore. He's a big boy. He can handle himself. And he'd probably come, see me come downstairs and be like, Mother, what are you doing? Right. So I let him do him. I can hear him when he gets up, even though I'm wide awake. And I take breaths, honestly, because I know my day is getting ready to be busy. It's going to be hectic because so much is happening here at the brownstone. I'm wearing many different hats. And so I literally just give myself grace. And I say, if I want to take an extra 10 minutes, I'm going to take an extra 10 minutes. If I want to sit here and just chill out and do nothing and look at the fan in my ceiling, guess what? I'm going to do that. And I'll roll over, you know what I mean, in the bed and just lay there because it's the simplicity and the pleasure of just doing nothing. Ain't nobody in the bed with me. Ain't nobody trying to touch me down and be like, baby, because I'm, that's a no for me. And so I don't have that to deal with. It's just me. So that's what I do. I give myself grace and time in the morning.
I love that. And before we move on to Gale, in case you're new here, you are listening to Wake Up Happy Sis on KCCR The Brownstone, where we're changing the narrative for Black and Brown people by telling our stories our way. So thank y'all for coming. We're here live every Monday, 10 a.m. Eastern. And then if you missed it today, it'll be back on in the morning. We run Monday through Friday. So make sure that you head on over to Brownstone Worldwide on Facebook, on YouTube, on LinkedIn, anywhere. you're going to find us. Make sure you subscribe so that you can stay in the know. We've got a wonderful host of other shows that are coming up. Today, we also have the Nicole Johnson with Girl Your Money Matters and Marshawn Alania. And I always mess up the name of her show, Paulette.
Love Restored.
Love Restored. I always mess it up. I'm sorry, Marshawn. I always mess up your show. But those are just today. We've got a multitude of shows. So just make sure that you're staying locked in to KCCR The Brownstone. You can download the app and listen on your phone, on your computer, wherever you are. It's a streaming all day, all night, 24 hours a day. So make sure that you stay locked in. Okay, so Gale, what are your self-care and wellness practices that help get you through stressful times?
I have a couple, and I just actually turned 52. And 20 years ago, I had a lifestyle boutique that I owned. And when I decided I was going to do my coaching practice, I said, this journey and that journey. How I am an entrepreneur today is going to be different than anyone else's. I'm not going to compare myself. I'm not going to look at how everyone else is running their business. You go onto Instagram and it's do it this way, do it that way, market this way. You got to do this, you got to do that. And I just finally said, I can't do that. This is my journey. I am not going to do it without comparison. I'm going to do it without the hustle. I'm going to do it without leaning in. Let's just break up with hustle culture. We get so used to that grind that it just leads us to the path to burnout. So mine is, and my journey is my journey, and how it looks is the way that I want it to look. And if that means that I need Wednesday morning off, I'm going to take that Wednesday morning. Doesn't mean that I'm going to have less work than anyone else. It's just that the way that I do it is not going to look like maybe how another person does it. That's all that it means. It doesn't mean it. It's just that how I execute is a lot different.
I love that. And I think it's important because I think we spend so much time trying to compare our journey to somebody else's. You can have two people doing the exact same thing, and it's still not the same thing. Our journeys will never be the same. And when we still stay trying to compare ourselves and how we're moving to somebody else's, we're not being authentic to ourselves. So I love that you're taking that time and saying, this is my journey and I'm going to do it my way. So I love that. Jenny, what about you?
All right. Actually, yeah, thank you so much for all the discussion on the worries, right? Having to, that's pretty much how I was trained too, as being a woman from the Chinese culture. It's that our lives, our bodies are pretty much for everyone else but you, right? And so I was like, especially as a mother, the worries, if you've taken care of everybody else, have I policed everybody else? So I was never in my body, really. I was never present because I was always worried about something, right? And so the practice of yoga and breath work and self-acceptance, giving myself grace, right? That really helps with me. I'm safe to feel right now. I'm safe to just be in my body. I don't have to worry about anything. It's just 1 hour of that, of yoga or 15 minutes of breath work. I would come back. It's because it's all just like really cleansing, right? And during the movement, I can't do that yet, and that's okay. So that's like a really, really loving practice of self-acceptance. Because say it used to be, oh my gosh, I was late giving my kid lunch. I'm such a bad mother. And you know what? No, it's okay. And that's what I had to retrain myself to do, not judge myself through self-acceptance and through the movement and the breathing. It's just safe to be me. right now. So that really helps.
No, I love that because I'm definitely of that space of yoga-ness where, I definitely can't do that yet. But it brings to mind when I first started working out with a trainer. And what people don't often realize sometimes is through that movement, through the exercise and stuff, sometimes you are releasing trauma as you are doing that. Because literally in those sessions, I would cry. I would cry because I was frustrated at this and frustrated at the world. And you just come out of that with such a different feeling of peace and of release. And so I definitely think for people who have not practiced, done some kind of mindfulness type of exercises like yoga or Tai Chi or whatever, to just start. They have wonderful apps all over the internet that go from, I don't even know what yoga is, up to expert level, and just try something new. The only way that you are going to learn what works for you, because like we've said, your journey is your journey. It's not going to be like anybody else's. You have to try new things and figure out what works for you so you can go from surviving to thriving. So Brigitte, let me just call you Brigitte from now on.
So for everybody to know, Leah and I, we talked about this before. My pronunciation really is Brigitte. But if my mother is watching this, because I on my Facebook page, listen, you should have spelled it different. No, anyways, so she says it's Bridget, but it's spelled Brigitte. But anyways, mine is commanding my day and commanding my thoughts, as well as grounding myself. And so the first two, I command my day. I used to do everything, as everybody has said, for everybody, and being a leader, being a wife, being a minister, being a mother, being a grandmother. I was every place. When I started my business a couple of years ago, I started commanding my day. So the first couple of hours belong to me. No appointments, no anything. I get most of my work done before 10 o'clock in the morning, because I get up and start my day early at 5 o'clock. And so that first hour from 5 to 6 is mine. And I do my morning routine and do all of that. And that helps me. And then the other thing is, I have a lot of issues with limiting thoughts because some traumatic behaviors, some traumatic things that happened to me. And so my behavior was limiting myself sometimes. And so I have to talk to myself. So I just had to do that this weekend. I was telling myself I was stressed. And I did. My husband called me. He was like, "What's wrong?" And I'm like, "I'm stressed and this and this and that." This is just the other day. I got in the car, and this is how I grounded myself. I got in my car. I'm in Michigan, so we had some nice sunny weather this weekend. Pulled that top across and let the sun hit me. Now, when I can, I like to go outside and either walk bare feet and let the touch the ground, touch the grass, or I go and sit by water. I get by water somehow. So nature really helps me. Or I go walking, and I like walking where trees are at. So I get grounded with nature. Or again, when the sun is shining, I love to go get in my car and just drive. Don't have no destination, just drive and let the sun hit me from the moon roof. And so those are some of the things that I do to help keep me, because I'm always processing stuff, and because of who I am, I have people grabbing on me all the time. So I have to make sure I set my day. So I command my morning. My children used to call me in the morning. I'm not available till 10 a.m. Now I let them start calling me at 8. So I use my first 2 hours, but I have my first 2 hours of the day. That's my tip.
And I think that's so important. One of the things that I do, and I don't do it every day, I have to get more consistent with it, is I line up what are the 5 or 6 things that I want to get accomplished today, right? Breaking down the major things that I'm trying to do into task level. One of the things I'm really good at doing is looking up to that top of that staircase, and it looks so daunting and intimidating, right? Instead of, let me just look at that next step. When I just look at that next step, that first step, and I just say, okay, let me just do this little thing, right? That was a thing that also changed. And I learned that from Darren Hardy. So if you guys don't listen, Darren Hardy has his little morning inspirational videos that he does every day. You should listen to him. He gives great information and insight. Another thing that I do is affirmations. I have a set of affirmation cards that I created that help a lot. So it's a deck of 52. So there are affirmations, but there are also actions, self-care actions. And that, I think, even the process of creating those and choosing which ones, right, putting that positive energy out into the world and back into my spirit, has been something that has really helped me deal with stress. And on my way to being burnt out, what are the things that I can do? Is definitely grounding. I have to be outside. Plus, I have a dog. I kind of got the dog, so I would be forced to go outside. And we go on our walk about 7 o'clock, 7:30 every morning, cold or not. Oh, cold or not, unless it's raining. He don't like the rain, so we don't do that too much when it's raining. But that, just getting out, getting that fresh air, and being allowed to just think through whatever's going on in my life and taking time for me, right? Even though I am an empty nester, my day is so full of everybody else's things. You know, I have client stuff over here. I'm trying to build this business over here. I'm trying to do this. Is really stopping and saying, Leanne, what do you need in this moment? Right now, what do you need? And giving that to myself, right? But also practicing gratitude. This is a big tip I'm going to tell you guys. I'm giving you all the inside scoop. Every day, when you end your day, write down 5 things that you are grateful for and 5 things that you love about yourself. And they cannot be the same thing. The 5 things you love about yourself can't be the same thing every day. I love my hair. You can't say that. You can't say that every day. You have to find new things that you love about yourself and new things that you are grateful for. That can be a life-changing thing when you just practice gratitude and practice self-love. Just try those 2 things for 30 days. And watch your words, because words have power. When we're constantly talking, I have to catch myself when I say something negative. That's not how we're living. Because I believe you speak things into existence, and what you focus on grows. So am I focusing on a lack, or am I focusing in abundance? So for me, those are kind of the major things that I do. Is I had to shift how I talk to myself and about myself. I helped myself through affirmations to do that. And then also saying no. Not feeling guilted into doing anything that I don't want to do in this moment. So I want to thank you guys all for being here. Our hour is up. Seems like it's gone so fast. So ladies, why don't you tell everybody what you guys have going on and how they can connect with you? So Brigitte, you go first.
Hey, everybody. Again, I'm Brigitte Brown Jackson. I am the founder of Exponential Edge Adventures. I was going to say right there, you can contact me by going to BrigitteBrownJackson.com. Bridget is spelled uniquely, Brigitte. And come on over if you're looking for some things, especially as it relates to leadership.
Tell us about you said you have a session today.
I do. I have a live every Monday where 2 of my besties, we get together and we do something similar to this. And we talk all things about being the CEO of your life or the CEO of your business. And it's geared for women. So yeah, you can check that out. We go live every Monday at 5:15 Eastern Standard Time.
All right.
On
awesome.
all of my channels.
And Jenny.
So thank you for putting my Facebook link over there. And I also can be contacted through Instagram. It's at Sunny Jenny Lee. So yeah, feel free to get in touch with me if you want more tips on how to start morning routines easily. Because from my experience, if you want to start a habit, start really easy and the most kindest way that is possible to your body, the gentlest way possible. So I'd love to speak with you more about that. Thank you.
Awesome. And Gale.
And thank you for having me here today. So the name of my coaching practice is actually Orderly Chaos, and that's chaos with a K. You can find me on my website at Orderly Chaos, where I have a 5 ways to identify burnout freebie right now that you can, it's about 10 pages, it's a little guide with ways to identify if you're on burnout and those different ways that you can help to subside those feelings that you're having and those symptoms.
Awesome. And Paulette.
Wow. Okay. So yeah, you can find me on Brownstone Worldwide. You can find me on all things Brownstone Worldwide throughout these interwebs in these internet streets. I am going to be going live in about 30 minutes with the Day Shift Midday, which is going to air on all of our platforms, including BWTV, which is a part of brownstoneworldwide.com. For those of you all who may be interested, we also have Brownstone Living Magazine. You can subscribe for $5.99 a month. And so you can go ahead and check that out. One of our very own is on the cover. It's all about financial literacy. And you can definitely, you may find some of these folks on this panel and the people in the neighborhood in the next couple of months. Next month is Mother's Day. And so we're working on that as well as Memorial Day as well. So that's what I'm doing.
Awesome. Well, again, I'm Leanne Dulce. You can find me pretty much anywhere. If you're looking at dulceandlay.com, you're going to find me. You can connect with me on social media. All my handles are Dulce and Lay everywhere. So if you look me up, you're going to find me. I want to thank everybody for being here, for listening in. We will be back again next week with a whole new show. And I want to thank you. Make sure that you do something for yourself today. Remember that list. 5 things that you're grateful for and 5 things that you love about yourself. Try it for 30 days. That's all we're asking. Just try it for 30 days and see how you feel at the end of that. So, want y'all to have a blessed and wonderful day. Make sure you come back at 7 p.m. Eastern for Girl Your Money Matters. Is that correct, Paulette? Yeah, I think that's it. Yeah. And then Love Restored with Marshawn Alanian right after that. See y'all later. Bye.